Good morning, everybody. We are live.
Yes, we are. Outstanding to be back. M&C in the morning. Fantastic M&C show with the great Crap Gamer and the great Nova. We've got an audience here. I know, guys, we just sprung this on everybody, Crap, without a whole lot of, advertising. We do this. This is just how it's kind of how we do things. You know, it's nothing wrong with that. That's right.
Yes, nothing wrong with it, yeah.
There's nothing
that's
wrong
what we
with
do.
that. Listen, I got news for you guys. Anyone that's tuning in right now, me and Crap are big fans. I think Nova as well, of all kinds of terrestrial radio. Now, maybe you like Sirius satellite radio or whatever you listen to on your podcast or iTunes. And you know what Crap just said is kind of right. And the more we get these in-depth look behind different radio shows, Crap, a lot of this stuff they do it by the fly of the seat of their pants. They just kind of get on and go live. And we do that, and we have fun with it. There's some days where we actually get together before and kind of choreograph everything. But this is just great. And I want to start off by just saying Happy New Year as far as the M&C show. I mean, is it too late, Crap, for a Happy New Year?
I mean, it's still January. We can still say that. So
all right. I wasn't sure because I remember Seinfeld. I think he said you can't give a Happy New Year in March.
Yeah, March is, I think it's a little bit too late, but I think we can definitely get that out there. Right now. So, Happy New Year, and glad you guys are all come out. Go ahead and subscribe and share it out.
Yes,
share it out so people know about it. Let's see who we can get in here. We know it's a Sunday morning, so a lot of people probably don't even know the show's live. We tweeted it out last night. Awake. Yeah, I had this old ass thanks Mooch and Crap thing, and Mooch is hey, maybe you should use this one, and I was like, okay.
I'm like, Crap, here's a couple others you can pick from. I gave him a swatch of M&C morning.
I was like,
you'd like, so yes. Very good. Shout out to the great Thumbs. He says, welcome back, boys. Absolutely. Sure. Great to be back. Listen, guys, you guys all know this. We've got a great show lined up for you. Listen, whether we're doing this by the flying by the seat of our pants or not, I got news for you. This is just something that's been in the making. We've been talking about a lot of these subjects for a while. I thought while everybody kind of shuffles in and you guys do hit the like button, retweet it out, let a family member know we're live. I was just going to start off and just say, Crap, I got to be honest with you. So over the break, me and you, we've talked on Crossfire. Me and you talk behind the scenes. But as far as M&C goes, and Nova as well, I've been playing a lot. And I mean, I know you guys see me, whoever follows me on PlayStation. I've been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. And wow, Crap, I can't believe I waited that long to play it. I kind of waited this long purposefully for the 60 frames on the PS5. But this game is something special. And the reason I say that is, you know me, Crap, we talk about this. Valhalla or any of the Assassin's Creed games for years now. So this isn't a new thing. I'm not an AC fan. The game is so spread out and it's so big, and just for me, it falls into the boring category.
Yeah.
Ghost doesn't do that. You've been saying you wanted to play more linear type games. And for an open world game like this you could play Ghosts as wide open or as linear as you want. Do you feel those same sentiments?
Yeah, you know what? For me personally, my type of open world game that I like is something like Mafia 2, something along that rate, where it is kind of an open world, but it's just basically a direct line from A to B. You know what I mean? You hop in your car and then you drive to the other thing and then you do the next mission. I kind of like that sort of way, as opposed to, I feel like when they do like these big open worlds, they're really just trying to pad the gameplay a bit, so for me personally, that's sort of how I feel about it. I get that the open world games can be good in a way. Like I really like Skyrim, but that was really the first Elder Scroll game that I liked. And I really got into that. I'm talking about years ago when it was on the 360 when it just came out.
Have I done myself a disservice, Crap, by not? I've never played Skyrim.
Well, Skyrim is a great game. But I'm not sure, I haven't played it lately. I'm not sure if it holds up because I believe that that's a game that never does cutscenes in a traditional manner. Right, and I think that's I could be wrong on that, but I believe that there's no cutscenes in that game. So it is kind of interesting the way that it just does that. Everything's just kind of in engine and whatever. But it is a really good game. I remember when I first got into that game, and I would that was one of the only games where I can remember where I would be at work thinking about what I was going to be doing later that night on Skyrim. This armor or that armor or this up, you know what I mean? I would actually be thinking about it. And it was just, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I think that the game is great, but has it aged well? I think that's probably another question altogether. Like sometimes, man, like you say it all the time, nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
You go back and play a game that you thought was really good, and then it turns out to not be as good as you remember. So, that's one of the very few games hold up through the years. I think that game's already like 10 years old or something. So yeah, I mean,
yes, it is.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't think that it would hold up maybe to you personally if you,
well, it's funny you say that. We were just talking. So before you jumped into the chat with us here in the Discord, me and the very great Nova, we're talking about all sorts of older games on PS1, PS2, PS3. And, I was just telling him, I got a problem with, and it's a me problem, right? I mean, I'm not saying there's a lot of people that hear me say this and they're like, come on, Mooch, turn yourself around. You got to start playing these games. I just, for some reason, I'm not a big fan of saying I want to go back and play these older games, whether it be 360 or PS3 or PS2, PS1, in their current state. That doesn't mean that I'm not looking forward to a revamped version like we saw with like Demon Souls or like what we may see with a Metal Gear Solid that's coming out. If you're going to take an old IP and really, really bring it up to snuff, I'm all ears and I will try it. But that's the thing, because sometimes when you go back, it's just very, very dated. And I mean, Nova's playing a list of older games, aren't you, Nova? I mean, I don't know where to even begin with you.
So I'll say this. I just so everyone knows, I recently got original fat PS3, the AO1, so the one that has the PS2 Emotion Engine chip on it.
Yeah, and it smooths out all the games so they look better.
Oh, yeah. So there's an option where you can turn on smoothing, turn on full screen by default. So, boom, everything's smooth and it's full screen. Well, Mooch, here's my thing. There's a lot of old games that they've never remastered or came out with again that are stuck in that era that are amazing games, right? So, while I do agree with you, right, I wouldn't go back and play Fallout 4 if you paid me. But if you'd said, hey, would you like to go back and play Onimusha 2, Need for Speed Underground 2? I mean, I got a bunch of games, Katamari.
Dude, I can tell you right now, man, like
great games.
Infamous 1 and 2.
Yep.
Really good games. You can also play the Sly Cooper collection. I think that's really good. Metal Gear Solid 4. I think that's still the only place you can play Metal Gear Solid 4.
That's true.
Like Motorstorm, Starhawk. There's so many good games. Resistance 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. The God that you can actually play the God of War collection, because I'm looking at my collection right now. I got a shit ton of PS3 games. So like SOCOM for the campaign, Jack and Dexter collection. So you can play even the God of War PSP games, which were really good.
Yeah.
You can play those on the PS3 as well. So yeah, because I kind of did the same thing. I didn't get a backwards compatible one. My original one was, but then I know a lot of people hated on the 360 because it got red ring. Those original fat PS5s or PS3s, excuse me, would get that yellow light of death sometimes too. Like mine got that. So I had that problem.
What's the level of excitement when it comes to a game like SOCOM? Because I have a follow up to this, but I want to know. I mean, is that something that where nostalgia is a hell of a drug, or is it?
Well, SOCOM used to be a hell of a thing, like on the PS2 era. Like the PS3 games weren't exactly that great, and then they had Zipper, who actually did the SOCOM games. They did something called MAG on the PS3, which was an online only game. It was massive action game, and it was okay. Like it was pretty cool. I guess it was like hundreds of people on the screen or whatever, but it's like really little skirmishes in little areas or whatever. But it was kind of a cool idea. And but it kind of failed. And so then Zipper kind of ended up, and then I think they made SOCOM 4, which came out right when the PSN hack happened. So at launch, literally you couldn't go online and play that game. So you were kind of screwed. So that kind of killed the game and killed Zipper, and then Sony closed down Zipper. But that's one of those franchises that probably could do a really good job if it came back, because it was such a good thing. And, I like that game. Like, I'm not going to lie. I used to play SOCOM all the time back in the day, and it was really fun. Like, that was really Sony's answer to what Microsoft was doing. I can still remember, like, the SOCOM commercials on TV where they had the headsets and they're communicating and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would love to see that franchise come back. I guess it would take the right developer to kind of do it, though.
Do you think Sony is hearing all of this crap? That's one of the. So let me just follow up with this. And guys in the audience, please take this with a grain of salt. But I will tell you this much: there's somebody that I've talked to behind the scenes, and they've almost said that it's a guarantee that the SOCOM rumor of it coming back and being revamped is something true. I've heard, they said, listen, it's a situation where they know the individual that works for a developing team that's working on it. But Sony has not, of course, they have not come out publicly and said it. So I myself would even say until Sony says it, I don't believe it. But I would say this much. It's got a strong amount of truth to it. So what do you think, Crap? Is that something that Sony has heard over the past, let's just say, maybe 24 months before the PS5?
I think they've been hearing it way longer than that.
Not just for Socom, but just multiplayer games.
Yeah, you know what? Like, here's the funny thing, right? Like, I know, like, the funny thing to do is make fun of Sony because, well, I mean, if you're like the Xbox fans make fun of Sony for not having multiplayer games, right? But the funny thing is like back in the 360 PS3 era, Sony had really good multiplayer games, and it wasn't really acknowledged much, right? And because at the time Microsoft had great multiplayer games, right? So Sony had good, Microsoft had great. In the 360 era, you had stuff like Halo 3, which would be common to see 1 million plus concurrent players, over 1 million, 1.3 million concurrent players on that, right?
That's right.
You would have Gears of War games that would have millions of players on there, right? Like Call of Duty would have millions of players. Yeah, exactly. And then on the PlayStation side, right, they had really good games because listen, Killzone 2 multiplayer was really good. So was the Resistance multiplayer and Resistance 2, and then they also had this game called Warhawk, which was really a lot of fun and a great multiplayer game.
A huge get for people. That's a big part of PS3's early days. Crap, I thought, and my friends, and they were casual, by the way. So this is a casual crowd. They said Warhawk is what brought them to PS3. Is that? I mean, I played it. I thought it was a bit clunky in gameplay, but the idea that the world was so big and immersive, and you could take over everything from jet planes, right, to taking control of like tank cannons and etc. I mean, everything was at your access. That was one of the first times a game kind of did that on console. I think that's what kind of roped people in.
And don't forget the motion controls with the 6-axis controller, so you can do like barrel rolls and stuff like that. But I do want to add on to one last thing about Socom. So when I had Hip Hop Gamer back on my show, I believe it was November, he said, without a doubt, there's definitely a Socom on the way. And I just want to bring people's memory back. I know, Crap, you were just talking about it. Socom 2 got it. If you look up the Metascores, 87. It was one of the best multiplayer games on PS2, period. And when you bought it back then on PS2, it actually came with a headset, right? So considering you had the network adapter on your PS2, that was an online game. And the cool thing is you could literally say a command to your team and they would do it. So you could, you had teams of 2, you and another NPC and 2 others. And you could say, okay, you guys post up on this door. We're going to go to this door. And on my command, everyone breach and shoot everyone up in the house. And you were able to do that. So I think it was ahead of its time. How they do that in the modern day, we'll see.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think, and that's the thing, Crap. I think when it comes down to it, I've heard that Sony's really going to capitalize on some of their nostalgic titles as we go into the PS5. And it's interesting because I'm torn on something like that. If it's done in the same way that Demon Souls was treated, then I'm all for it. But if it's something where it's just they're pumping them out just for nostalgia to recoup that $60, that's not something I really look forward to. I'm hoping that they put their best foot forward with some of these older titles. But I've heard that that's something they're really.
What's funny? You know what's funny is I think like Socom was ahead of the game because you used to be able to like do dances and stuff, and like emotes and stuff way back in the day. Yep. Right, like, and that was something that they were like, people used to dance over your dead bodies or whatever. So that was something that they really I'm not sure if they invented that, but they were pretty early on in that stuff. You know what I mean? Like the ability to do that kind of stuff with the multiplayer. So yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people will probably I don't know if like take for granted, but yeah, that's a franchise that really kind of made its own way, and they did a really good job with that. So I got to say, I'm pretty impressed. I would love it for it to come back. I think that would be fantastic. I think a lot of people would enjoy that, and it'd be smart of Sony to actually listen to the fans. Like that's the thing when it comes to gaming, right? Is we know that these companies, you can't really do. I don't trust any of the suits. Right, like they're like politicians to me, right? Yeah, I don't trust, they're all kinds of slimy. Yeah, there could be some people in there that really are gamers or whatever. Like to be honest with you, okay, Yoshida on the Sony side, he's really a gamer. Like that guy's really a gamer. So it's like you kind of get that. It's like I don't trust Jim Ryan. I certainly don't trust Phil Spencer.
Right.
So, it's just kind of like, because they're just fine line, really, right? Like, these companies have to make money, but they also have to really pay attention and be self-aware of what's going on and what their fans want, right? And they have to be able to read a room. Okay, and I think that that's something that Sony does better than Microsoft. Microsoft has like this board, like Sony treats PlayStation like they like with kid gloves, okay, because that's like their big moneymaker, right? You can't screw that up, or that company might be doomed. Okay,
right.
Microsoft does weird shit, and you're just like, what the hell was that? And they do that weird shit because they're very corporate still,
right?
Like they can try to be your buddy and your pal, but at the end of the day, they're a corporation.
Yeah, starting to see this now.
Yeah. I mean, look, was there any other? And listen, I'm sure we're going to get into it, the whole Xbox Live fiasco. But absolutely. I showed you the tweets, right, from what's his name, Z Tiny or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that. But they're going to have to get some money back somewhere, because it's like what a lot of people have been saying this whole time is they're not making any money off of Game Pass or anything. They're not making the money that they want, and probably
that's clear right now. That's clear as day.
As we can transition into that right now. Listen, probably what happened is they all of a sudden were probably losing subscribers, right? Losing Game Pass subscribers because, a lot of people, some people are going back to work. Some places are like opening back up. Yep. It's like and that's bound to happen. And there hasn't been any games on the Xbox side, like big AAA games in 506 days.
You've been saying this.
Yeah, 506 days was the last AAA exclusive.
And that's
Microsoft.
The value, right, Crap? When we talk about value in Game Pass, the value is the first party. And we haven't had a first party new title since you said 506 days counting today. And we're still not going to get anything big in the sense of AAA until we see Halo Infinite, which is rumored to be end of this year, which if there's any kind of trip or hiccup, it could bump it into 2022. So ultimately, yes, I understand they're throwing the old Yakuzas in there, and I understand they're throwing some of these other games in there. But realistically, that's not necessarily enticing enough to get, especially the casual gamer, to throw $120 a year down for those games they're not necessarily interested in. So this is what you've been saying for the longest time. And now, a lot of people, we've been saying this on Crossfire, we've been saying it on IMNC for a very long time. And I know a lot of people that are the big Xbox fans, you guys shake your heads, and you're still shaking your head saying, no, that's not true, Mooch. Crap just said it. Game Pass is not doing the numbers. Here's the thing. Let's forget our opinions. This has nothing to do with Mooch and Crap, Nova, and you guys in the chat. I don't believe Game Pass is doing the numbers that Microsoft wants to see. This is my belief. And that was never more true than when we saw Crap and the fact that they tried to up the ante on the Xbox Live Gold membership for new members to come in at $120 a year. Okay, not $60 a year, which was the previous price. Now back to that. Of course, they reversed it. We'll get into that. But my point being is that was a ploy and a move to shovel people because they needed Xbox Live, shovel you into the Game Pass family. So now that is reversed, Crap, now we have to kind of look at that. Now, good on Microsoft, like everyone says, be fair, Mooch. I'm being fair. Good on Microsoft.
Who the hell read that room, though? That's the thing that I would say, right?
Who approved that? Who's greenlighting this? I said, it's the captain of the ship you have to point
to.
Phil
Spencer. Yeah. Phil Spencer. This is the thing. Like, you actually think
even if it
Phil
wasn't
Spencer,
him, it's the captain that takes the blame, right?
Yeah, Well, I mean, listen, he's not only the head of Xbox, but he's like on the board. You honestly don't think that somebody ran past him that, hey, we're gonna double the price of Xbox Live Gold?
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't say, oh my God, Mooch just put online that we're doubling it.
Yeah,
nobody told Mr. Spencer, right? Yeah, I don't think that would happen.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's a Phil Spencer thing. We can't give Phil Spencer credit for doing good things without the credit for the mess ups as well, right? Like, we got to be honest about this stuff, okay? So people always go old regime. Phil Spencer has been the head of Xbox since 2014. We're in 2021. He was the head of Xbox Game Studios and okayed all the original ideas for the Xbox One. So even though he wasn't the head of Xbox, he could have spoke up. He could have said something. He's admitted that. He said, that was my bad. I sat there. I didn't say no at the meetings when they were bringing up DRM or this or that and the other thing. He's the one that closed Lionhead. He's the one that canceled Fable. He's the one that canceled Scalebound. Well, those are all Phil Spencer moves. So I like, people want to act like this guy is the savior of Xbox, but to be completely honest, in my opinion, the quote unquote friendly moves that he's made have all helped kill the Xbox that I actually enjoyed. And people might go, oh, well, that you're stuck in this or that. But listen, Xbox was this great console that would have hardcore games and hardcore exclusives, right?
Right.
That's what it was all about. Even from the start, it didn't sell the best, but it had really hardcore exclusives and really great games. Yeah. And since Phil has taken over, it's lost that. Right now, it's like, what makes Xbox special? You have this man telling you he doesn't care if you buy his product, first of all, which, what does that tell a consumer? Second of all, he lies out like through his teeth about everything, right? Like, you know, we don't even know if like the Bethesda games, are they exclusive or not? When is the next exclusive? What's the roadmap like? What's coming? Like their 2020 lineup or 2021 lineup is the most pathetic lineup I've ever seen in my life. And then to top it all off, they did 100% increase in Xbox Live during a pandemic. Right. And then they tried to roll it back and people try to act like they're the good guys because they're like, well, we're going to make free-to-play games free. And people are like, oh, thank you, Microsoft. You're really listening. Right. Mooch, how many years have people been begging for free-to-play games to be free like they are on every other platform?
Quite some time.
Years. Yeah. So you're telling me just now, and anyway, by the way, it's not free yet. It's still, quote-unquote, months away from being free.
Crap. Yeah,
it's on the way. Yeah. Okay, so you know, Microsoft wanted to be kind of the hero and look good. At the end of the day, they probably saw the GameSpots and the IGNs calling them out, saying it was a big ripoff, calling them out, saying, you know, with their polls. Did you see all the polls? What are you going to do about it? And the main answer was switch to PlayStation, right? I mean, Microsoft sees this, so they have no choice but to respond. Okay, and the thing is. You would think that all the Xbox influencers called them out for that, but there was literally a lot that defended the move.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, but I gotta mention Capone. Capone says, I love the show, but you guys don't know what goes on at Microsoft. Capone, here's the problem I have with your comment. And the issue is this, and I'm not speaking for Capone, but I just want to say this much, and I really appreciate Capone. He comes to the show all the time. Is that if you're going to sit there and you're going to praise Phil for certain things that have gone on, which are rightfully so, by the way, rightfully so, that's fine. But then when something bad happens and you're going to give him credit for something you also don't know whether or not he had his hands on or not, and then this is seemingly an issue. I mean, let's be honest here. Whether you think so or not, Crap just alluded to it moments ago. Okay, whether you believe it or not, you think somebody over Phil's head. He's the head of Xbox, and he has a seat at the round table with Satya Nadella. The only person who could have done this if it wasn't Phil, or greenlit it if it wasn't Phil, was Satya. And Satya would have still had a conversation with Phil about it. So this is the situation where Capone goes, I love the show, guys. I love what you're doing, but you guys don't know that. Well, certainly, I mean, you're right. Am I there?
Well, let me ask this question.
I mean, we have to be sensible here at the same time. You can't just keep saying, well, you're not in the room, so you don't know that. I mean, let's just be sensible here as we talk about a subject. And I'm willing to give Phil all the credit in the world if you want to go down he saved Xbox in certain categories, when whether or not maybe that wasn't his idea either. Maybe that was somebody over his head and he just signed off on it. But I give him the benefit of the doubt there. But when something like this happens, you can't say, well, Mooch, you don't know. Well, certainly nobody does that's doing any show. But we do have to do that, you know, the old-fashioned 1 + 1 = 2, right? I mean, this is just the way it is. I mean, go ahead, Crap. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I always just kind of point this out, though, because people are like, listen, like Phil gets all this, oh, well, Play Anywhere is great, but most people don't even use it, and it really took away the entire thing that made Xbox. I'm not saying that you can't share some games. I'm just saying when you effectively take away the identity of a console completely, and listen, to anybody that's going to defend and go, oh, well, Play Anywhere is great or blah, blah, blah. Listen, you're telling me right now, if you're a hardcore console gamer, that you wouldn't absolutely revel in there being a true console Xbox exclusive game. Like, you would love it. Like, there's no denying that. Mooch, do you think any Xbox fan would deny that? If they're a console owner, an Xbox console owner, that they wouldn't absolutely love a huge, big budget AAA exclusive only on that box? Wouldn't they love that?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Of course you would. Listen.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I'm talking about, right? They guise everything is consumer friendly, but the realistic thing is it's all about the money. That move was all about the money. You don't think that Sony couldn't put all, and maybe down the line 10 years from now they will, but you don't think Sony could put their games on PC and make a shit ton more money, right? The reason why they don't, right, and they just kind of sporadically do it where it makes sense, I guess, is because they have a they owe something to the fans that are buying their hardware to make them feel special. And they know this because think about it. Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Buying that for a year, get your fans that for a year, right? That's something, and that's pro PlayStation. That's not anti anything, right? I remember seeing that, and I love that saying. It's pro PlayStation. It's not anti Xbox or anti PC. It's just pro PlayStation. You're getting stuff for your fans. And that's what it's all about. Like Microsoft, what are they actually doing to draw fans in? And people, before somebody throws Game Pass at me, keep in mind, I have Game Pass that I paid $1 for through 2022, and I don't use it because there's shit on there. Like any game that I'm literally interested in, that I really want, I'm going to buy it day one. Okay. Yeah. And to be quite frank, the games that are on there, the little indies and double A's, like I'm not interested in that crap. To be honest with you, I'm just being completely honest with you. Unless they could get a Call of Duty day one, a Madden day one, you know what I'm saying, an Assassin's Creed day one, or Watch Dogs day one. Unless they could get something huge like that, it means absolute dick to me because
crap. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Capone. No one said the 325 people. What I'm saying is when you have the head of a team, okay. Let me explain something to you. I don't know if Capone, have you ever turned on any sports in your life? Sports! Okay? When the team fails and doesn't do well, it's not the coach's fault. He didn't miss the shot. But the coach takes the hit. I don't understand what's so hard to understand here. That's all I'm saying. No, it's Phil didn't make the decision himself at 9 o'clock Pacific time and then drop it without talking to anybody. No, he did not do that. It was a team of people that made this decision at Microsoft. But Phil is the head of Xbox. Have you ever seen, like, I'll give you an example. I'm a New York Giants fan for football, but they just released Doug Peterson of the Philadelphia Eagles. Did Doug Peterson miss the field goal? Did Doug Peterson did he throw the interception? No. But the quarterbacks are still there. The kicker is still there. The head coach is gone. Capone, you know what I mean? You gotta stop living in the world of text and start living in the world of what's going on. That's all we're saying here is that Phil was the one that made the announcement that they reversed it. Why wasn't it somebody else? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's Phil himself. He did this himself without telling anybody. That's nonsense. Of course not. But when it comes down to it, if we're gonna sit here and I'm going to give Phil the right that he deserves for some of the things he did great, which he didn't do himself either. He did it with a team. But we say Phil saved Xbox, right, crap? So if Phil seemingly saved Xbox, then Phil seemingly made a mistake with this gold, the Xbox Gold going up in cost. It's that simple, Capone. It's not I said he did it. Come on, let's open our ears. And let's just speak
That's
for
all
a moment.
I'm saying. But I also want to say one thing. I don't believe that it was a publicity stunt by Microsoft. I think that this was something that, listen, last July, Mooch, Microsoft took away the option to get a 12-month, $60 Xbox Live off the dashboard. Last July. That meant that this was in motion at that point. They sent out hundreds of thousands, I guess, of these $60 6-month cards. Right, that they don't do that for a publicity stunt. This was something they got caught with their pants down. And to be honest with you, if you read what Z Huge said, remember I sent it to you guys yesterday. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
If you could bring that up, perhaps. So we can...
I have it. He says, this is what Z Huge says, who I guess, I mean, he's in the industry. He says, the reversal shows that Xbox is indeed responsive to criticism of how it's achieving its goals, as it does not want to have a repeat of the Xbox One launch debacle. But it should be noted that Xbox will continue to find a solution to increase revenue per user on console. The free-to-play announcement has been in the works for months, and that announcement was dropped today to help offset the backlash from the original price increase announcement. Microsoft will continue its focus on Game Pass moving forward and acquisition of IP for the service. So basically, he's saying that they're going to have to find other ways to increase money, which could be, obviously, they're going to have to raise the price of Game Pass at some point.
Exactly.
And,
so we need to talk about that crap.
Microtransactions could be another way that they kind of offset things.
Can I throw something into the ring? Because I've seen a lot of people in the past 24 hours crap talking about how now we should all have the same campaign on the $70 issue with PlayStation games. And I think you've made a great point online in the past 24 hours as well, combating this. First of all, no, I as a consumer am not a fan of them going from $60 to $70. But it's a gradual increase, and we don't know what Microsoft is going to do. And now that Microsoft's plan of charging that extra money for Game Pass is seemingly out the window because of the about face yesterday.
Yeah,
I can certainly see their first party game. And think about it. It makes sense, right, guys? Let's talk hypothetical. Let's just talk hypothetical. If Microsoft makes their their AAA games like Halo Infinite, let's use Halo Infinite. If you don't want Game Pass and you want to buy it, it could very well be $70. And then their ploy is this: either pay us $70 because that's the new price of games, or get it in Game Pass, right? It's another reason for them to get you into Game Pass, which is fine. Now, that's a ploy I can get behind. So you have a choice as a consumer. It's going to be a $10 upcharge from Gen 8 to Gen 9's AAA games, or join Game Pass. So, right now, before everybody kind of says Sony, we've got to go, we got to be careful here, because now I could definitely see Microsoft making their first-party game $70 at this point, because their thought process of upping the ante on Xbox Gold, Live Gold, has now gone by the way the dodo bird. That's not going that way now. Now they have to find that money somewhere else. So do you see, that's why this comment that you're reading holds so much weight as we move forward. Shout out to the great Sir X Man. He says, I can understand going up 10 or 20, but doubling the price is just way too ridiculous. And that's the problem. Somebody was getting greedy. Sir X Man, thank you for making that point. And it's maybe when it comes from the audience, I would not have had a problem if Xbox Gold went up by $10 or $5, right?
Yeah,
and then in 2 years it went up by another 5 or 10, and we slowly got there. That's what the $10 that Sony's doing. I'm not happy about it. I'm certainly not happy about it. I'm a mooch.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this much:
I stocked up when it was like $24 or whatever it was on PSN.
Well, no, I don't mean PS Plus. I'm talking about their AAA games, like House Marquee's game. The Returnal game is going to be $70. I'm not happy about that. Not at all. But guess what? As a consumer, I can do 3 things. I can buy it at $70. I can wait for it to go on sale in 2 or 3 months, which it will, by the way. Or I cannot buy it at all. Right? Those are my choices if I really don't like that $70 tag, or I do. Those are my choices.
Yeah.
Vedger official music videos, he says, for Xbox games who are, or I think he means gamers who are crying over the PlayStation gamers pointing out the predatory action in Microsoft raising the price for Xbox Live Gold. We don't care about your money. We only knew that PS Plus would eventually follow suit. That's another thing. That's another great thing that happened here by Microsoft, doing a 180 and coming back to the $60 for 12 months. That keeps Sony in check. Which Microsoft.
Listen, I don't think Sony would have raised it anyway.
Not right away.
Listen, Sony's got 45 million paying customers for PlayStation Plus. They aren't in a hurry to, you know what I'm saying? Like Microsoft, Sony had no reason to do it, is what I'm saying. Microsoft had a reason, because what they're trying to do is get people, strong arm people, to, switch from Gold to Game Pass, right? That's what they're trying to do. Like I said, this is just my best guess, is that the Game Pass subscriptions have kind of cooled off, and they're about to do, you know what I mean, like from the last quarters or whatever. Right. And the reason for that could be numerous. Like my opinion, this is my opinion, mind you, that we haven't seen a big game go to Game Pass in many months. Okay, like people are very aware of that, and I said that this was the worst time to actually have Game Pass if you're getting a new console, because there's not a single next generation game on Game Pass. It's all last gen and previous gen. So, obviously that might not keep people as satisfied as, you might think, you know what I mean? So I think that they were probably trying to maybe get people to persuade people, strong arm people, if you will, to switch, oh, well, if I got to pay $120 for Gold anyway, like, listen, this is what they were going to do, right? Because they were going to announce free to play actually being free to play, right? But the problem with that is that way that if you're just paying for regular Xbox Live Gold, what does that do to Ultimate and regular Game Pass, Mooch? Okay, like that's my question. So like free to play games, like if you're playing Fortnite and Warzone and Apex Legends online, you're going to still be able to play those online for free, and presumably in a few months when they actually put that through. But it's like, if you were playing those type of games and were playing for Gold and they upped it to 120, well, now you don't have to pay that. You can still play your games or whatever. But if you do decide to pay the 120, then you can instead put that 120 into Game Pass. You see what I'm saying? Like that's probably their thought process. It was kind of a strong arm tactic. It was kind of a bad idea. But the funny thing was the deflection by Xbox users. And, like, I don't understand why deflect it. Like, the proper way to deal with what Microsoft did was say, yeah, it was a dick move. I'm glad, everybody spoke out about it, and I'm glad they reversed course. Not try to change it onto Sony, because we got to be honest here. We don't know what Microsoft is going to charge for next-gen AAA exclusives. We honestly do not know what they're going to charge for it because they haven't had any, right? Like, and before you point out Gears Tactics, that's a last-gen game, okay? So, again, we're getting to the point, when we get to the point when there's next-gen only games, what is Microsoft going to charge for them? You might go, well, we don't know, because if you go back and listen to Aaron Greenberg's own words on it, he says the idea of game pricing is complex and said that Microsoft has a wide range of pricing within its first parties, right? Like this is what he says. He actually never answered it, right? He never answers the question. No, he just says, well, Ori was 30 and we're launching and State of Decay was 40 and Gears Tactics is 60. But he never, they don't have that big AAA game.
Door open too.
Yeah, exactly.
And shout out to 9 Lives. He's like, Mooch, not like this. Listen, I'm telling you right now, 9 Lives. Okay, like let's take a different game for example. Hades, right? When it first came out, I believe Hades when it first came out. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. You guys love to do that anyway. I believe it was $29.99 when it first came out. I waited till it was $20 digital sale on PC. Like I waited till it came out on sale. So when somebody says this is the same thing, it's not, because you need to have Xbox Live Gold at the time to play even free to play games. So you had to have Xbox Live Gold. So it was either going to be $120 for Gold, or it was going to be $180 for Game Pass Ultimate. If you don't like the $70 tag, which I do not, okay, I don't know how many times I got to say that. I do not like the $70 price tag. If the game doesn't interest me enough, I will wait for it to go on sale. I did that with The Evil Within. I got The Evil Within. I believe I was very gracious to a great gamer. I was able to mooch it, but I believe that game was $30. It went from $60 to $30 crap in like less than 60 days.
Yeah.
You can wait as a consumer for it to go on sale. It's not going to be $70 for the next 6 years. It's going to be $70 for the next 60 days at most. And then it'll be on sale. So my point being is it's not the same 9 Lives. It's not just not like this, Mooch. You have an option. When it came to Xbox Live Gold, you did not have an option if you're a multiplayer gamer. You had to have it. So if it was going up, you've got to pay for it.
Yep.
Okay? And that was the set price. And Capone says, Mooch, would you pay $70 for Returnal? I'm on the fence. But guess what, Capone? I guarantee you I can wait until May 1st or April 15th and probably get it for $50. Or I could bring in an old game that I beat and trade it in, get $15 for it at Game Pass, and put it towards the $70. I have options. You don't when it's $120 straight price or $180 for forcing you into Game Pass Ultimate. It's not the same conversation. It is in a sense of consumers fighting back, and I will grab my torch and join you guys. I want $60 to be the asking price again. I don't want $70, but I have options. I can wait. That's the point I'm trying to drive home here. It's not an apples for apples.
Yeah, the funny thing is that Sony actually took the same stance. Jim Ryan said the same thing. They adopt a wide variety of things. Like if that price tag doesn't work for it, it'll drop fast. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is like, okay, so I bought Sackboy on PS5, and that was a $60 game, right? Whereas Demon's Souls was $70. I guess it just depends, but it's like there are $70 games on Xbox as well. So a lot of people are out there trying to act like that's not the case or whatever. Again, I would just point out that we don't know what the price will be of those AAA exclusives next gen only, because they haven't released a AAA exclusive yet, and they haven't released one for 506 days. So, we have to kind of look at it like that. Like anybody kind of just spouting out, they don't know yet. That's the big problem. We don't really know. It'd be kind of ignorant to say for sure, because they don't know for sure, because Microsoft hasn't commented for sure. So yeah, I would say, the best thing to do would be kind of hold off on that argument. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody was like, yay, $70 games. I think that, that's just something that was kind of built up in the industry for a while now, simply due to the fact that it's been $60 for decades. And game costs have gone up and stuff like that. So, that was bound to happen. I'm not saying that anybody has to be happy about it or thrilled about it. I'm just saying that,
not
it just
thrilled about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that, people in general, like that's just that stuff. And you're talking about a 14% increase as opposed to 100% increase. And you can try to tell me which one, and again, Sony has put out games that are $50, $60, and $70. So they're adopting a variety as well. It's not like they're just doing all $70 games. They're not. Okay, Miles Morales was a $50 game. Sackboy $60. Demon Souls $70. So that proves that they're just as they're moving just as agile with the price as Microsoft.
I think they're testing the waters too, crap. Yeah, let's be honest here, because I got news for you. If this Returnal thing, let's use Returnal as an example. It's a great example. It launches in whatever it is, 6 weeks or so.
I personally think it's a mistake to do that game at 70 because it's a new IP, and you know what I'm saying? The only thing that I could think of that game would really help that game is the fact that there's not much else out. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? So we talked about this on Friday's show, crap, and we've discussed this in prior years. There's the releasing things at just the right moment in time, right? So we are at a dry spell. We had all those games that came out over the holiday from October till the holiday ended. And now people have beaten those games, and we're all home, right? So there's not a lot of activity. There's no movie theaters. There's no sporting events. There's no meeting friends at the bar. That's all gone. So we're really dominating these games at a rapid rate. And I will say, crap, that the only thing that can help Returnal with that $70 price tag is the fact that nothing else is really releasing at that time. However, I will agree with your first statement, and I hope 9 Lives and some of the other guys in the chat are listening to me. I do not like the $70 price tag. I do not like it. So I'm going to look at this game in depth. I'm going to put the game
green eggs and ham.
I do not like green eggs and ham. I love it. But I mean, I have to put it in those terms because even some of the people in the chat are getting it. They're like, is anyone listening to Mooch? He's saying what you want him to say. You're just twisting the words. Shout out to Cocoa Puffs. He says, what Microsoft is doing is setting a bad trend against the consumers. They lost our trust because of their greed. Imagine if they were in first place. That's an interesting point, Coco. And then Gemini J, he says, Walmart regularly sells new games $10 cheaper, even if PlayStation games launch. At launch, we're $10 cheaper, but only in store. That's why physical is necessary. Outstanding point. And shout out to Not in Time Game 62. He says, we're going to get into the medium. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But I think that's important, crap. And you make a great point that Returnal is, we talked about this on Friday. Returnal is going to be a real test for Sony, isn't it? Because Pantherium says, Mooch, $70. No one's talking about the $99 Returnal version. Well, listen, once you're going to get into deluxe editions, there's $90 and $100 versions of Resident Evil 8 Village also. I mean, there's all sorts of those things out there. So when you start getting into deluxe or gold editions, we can't really harp on that. We have to talk about the standard edition, which has got the price increase. But if Sony doesn't do well with this game, crap, it's going to come down to two things. It's going to come down to how does it Metacritic score, and how was the game itself, first of all?
Yeah, because if you look at Godfall, right, that was a $70 game. That's not necessarily a Sony game, but there was a $70 game that scored very low, and even both me and you who were interested were like, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So like it has a lot to do with it. Like if the game scores really well, I think it'll help it. If it scores kind of mid, I don't think it will. I think it's an interesting looking game, but I think that to be quite honest with you, I would think that this game would be in the $40 to $50 range. And I think that would be where it would set it up for some kind of success. But I do feel like if it doesn't have success right away, that you will see big price drops on it pretty quickly anyway. So, it sucks because, it's one of those studios where, they're doing something, here's something completely new IP, and it looks very interesting. And yet they kind of maybe set it up for failure a little bit, with the price point and stuff like that. So I think that, a lot of the hardcore will probably support it, but is that going to be enough? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, this game is a vast departure from the quote unquote walking simulators that people think Sony only do. Okay. So, we'll have to see. And then it's also not a Naughty Dog game or a Santa Monica game or something like that, or an Insomniac game. This is House Marquee?
House Marquee, yes.
Yeah, so you know what I mean?
It's not their first attempt at impressing us, but it definitely is going to be their report card here as they step into the AAA space crap, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is their first attempt at that, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, their last game was Resogun. Which that, you know what I'm saying? This is quite a it's like saying you're not afraid of heights because you changed a light bulb in your house, and then the next step is you have to change the light bulb on the top of a Ferris wheel. Okay, maybe you're afraid of heights. We'll find out. Mooch, I don't know. It's too early to tell. Go ahead, Nova.
Mooch, I did want to celebrate the M&C show coming back. It's a new year now. I got a code for everyone. I got a $10 PSN code. I warned everyone in the chat. You got about 60 seconds. Get your browsers ready, get your system ready, whatever.
Yes.
I'm dropping a code in there. And, this has been a great show so far. I might drop another code later. We'll see.
Well, so let me just say this much. Shout out to the great Nova, who's doing a code drop. And shout out to the great Cool Hand Crews as well, for always supporting not only M&C, but supporting Mooch and Crap. On all shows. So shout out to the entire Insomniacs crew.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Crap, that's the thing. So I think that we do, us as gamers, we do have to sit down and wait and see what's going to happen here as far as Returnal. Guys, listen, if you guys are listening from the Xbox camp, Returnal is going to be a huge tell. If that game really sells outstanding out the gate, and it does very well Metacritic-wise, you tread very carefully with the Xbox isn't doing this slogan, because I think it's going to happen. Microsoft has one of two choices here. Now that they can't do the seemingly Xbox Live Gold upgrade, either the $9.99 Game Pass, the original game, that might go up $1 or $2. Ultimate might go up $1 or $2 a month, or you're going to see a $70 physical release and digital release of the game if you don't join Game Pass. And that's all I'm saying. I'm saying if. I apologize. Shout out to the great games trailers. He says, no, Mooch. The last game was Nex Machina, which, still in the same family of types of games. It's still a huge jump up, games trailers, but thank you for the correction. I truly do appreciate that.
Nex Machina actually had a 88 Metacritic, so that's pretty impressive. And, of course, Resogun had an 84. So, they've actually done some pretty interesting stuff throughout their history or whatever. They've done also done some stuff on it looks like the Vita and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that they have this is their first AAA. I'm looking at the Returnal Combat stuff on the official PlayStation thing. You know what it reminds me of a little bit, like just from the combat and the movement and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Mass Effect.
I can see that
in a good way, right? Like what they're doing, and also they have this game listed as a roguelike shooter role playing game. So I mean,
see a lot of Nex Machina and a lot of Resogun type of that spray effect. Do you see them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like with the power, like they got some kind of power laser sword or something, and shooter or whatever. So yeah, like I think it's a very, very cool looking, interesting game. I think that, like I said, the price tag might be a bit much for people. So we'll have to wait and see how that kind of works out. But I suspect that, it depends. Like what else is coming out in March? I don't think much else is coming out in March. Like people, listen, I made fun of people for playing old games, right? Like I'm like, man, I would really hate to go back and play old games. But the fact of the matter is, in the middle of a pandemic, a lot of us might end up having to go back and play. Listen, I've got a backlog, so it isn't that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we'll see how it goes. I think that, there's still games that I would like to finish, but I would much rather play new games than old stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of my opinion or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather play something new like Returnal than have to go and play something that I got previously a while ago. So that's kind of my opinion on the subject. But I would much rather play something new. But at least I've had like that new kind of thing on PlayStation. Like with Xbox, like I don't know, like how often do you play yours? Because I got to be honest with mine, right? I use mine for mostly media and stuff. I've maybe put 12 or 14 hours in mine. I've started Assassin's Creed, but it seems like such a long thing.
It is. I started Valhalla. I didn't get very far into it. I listen. This is not bashing Valhalla. If you guys are enjoying it, that's awesome.
I think it's a good story and stuff. To be honest with you,
it is a good story.
It feels very long to me.
Really long in the tooth. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not necessarily. I've heard they fixed it, but I was playing it when it first came out. When the Xbox Series X first came out, I was playing it, and it was definitely having HDR problems. There was definitely a lot of pop-in, and then there was just screen tearing. It was pretty apparent. But now I know they fixed that. So I'm not going to say that's a problem now. But no, to answer your question, I'm not playing. I play Destiny 2 on my Xbox because shout out to Luca and shout out to Gaming Forte, shout out to Brap. Those guys all game with me on there, and they play Destiny 2, so I do play there. I got through the first 2 acts or chapters, however you want to call it, through Hivebusters. I put the controller down, and then I seemingly had nothing to get me back in there. I've been trying to really push you, Crap. I've really given you a lot of pressure. I'm like, come on, Crap, let's play through Hivebusters. I know you did, but I wouldn't mind. I would rather play that through with a friend on co-op versus just solo. I will say I agree with you. I think Hivebusters was. I mean, in the little that I played at Hivebusters, I liked it better than I've liked most of Gears 5. So shout out to that. The coalition's really kind of stepped up. I thought Hivebusters looks best and also intrigued me the most. But yeah, I mean, I really haven't played a lot of my Xbox Series X, and that's because, frankly, I've just been on the PlayStation. I mean, we've been playing everything from Demon Souls. I'm trying to platinum. I'm not too far away, but I'm trying to platinum Ghost of Tsushima right now. And then I platinumed. I had the BioShock collection. I went and platinumed BioShock, which is an older game. I was doing that in the meantime. But then I beat platinum Miles Morales. And as a family, we're actually, and listen, they're gonna give it to us for free. Crap, we're gonna talk about Destruction All Stars. I'm literally I think I'm like 6 trophies away from platinuming Bug Snacks with the family. We've been having a lot of fun with it. Listen, is it something I'm recommending to the audience? Are you? No.
I got stuck pretty early on in Bug Snacks, man. I didn't know what the hell to do in that game.
Listen, the family likes it. We go through it together. It's a lot of fun. And I will say this much. Is it an easy platinum? Yes. It's more time consuming than I thought, so it's, but it is what it is as far as getting the plat. If you just want to beat it, no, you can beat it short. But yeah, I do want to talk about something that I see a lot of Xbox guys here in the chat, and they're like, Mooch, what do you think about the medium? And I think that, Crap, tell me if you agree with me. I think part of my excitement for the medium is because I get to use my Xbox Series X on a new game. I mean, I don't know if you kind of feel me on that one, but that's where I'm at. I'm almost wicked excited for the medium, mainly because I can't wait to play on my Xbox Series X. What's your take as far as what you've seen on the gameplay? And
it doesn't look like it has any gameplay. You know what I mean?
I guess I set you up. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what is there gameplay to that? I'm kind of curious. Maybe.
And shame on me. I don't remember who said it or what they said the game was, but they said on Crossfire, Nova, I think you said you were listening to Crossfire. If you remember, let me know. Yeah. The game reminded somebody on the panel on Friday of a certain game, and I said, that's it. That's it. Shout out to Dean Knox. Knox said it reminded him of a Plague's Tale. Crap.
Oh yeah.
So not the same. No, guys, not the story. The game mechanics, the playthrough where it's puzzles and walking through and picking something up. Capone says Mooch said he would give the medium a chance. Absolutely. Also, I'll be playing it. I'll probably stream it day one.
Yeah, it also looks like Until Dawn. It gave me Until Dawn vibes a lot.
I don't know if I would go there, man. I love Until Dawn. That game had a lot of options and choices and good characters and stuff.
DK9. Go ahead, Crap.
I was just gonna say this game doesn't look like it has any gameplay to it. Like I don't know, what the gameplay is.
Yeah, it's not gameplay. It's like a Plague's Tale. Crap. It's puzzles and timing, and you capture this item, hold it, use it over here. I mean, to a certain extent, some of the puzzles. I mean, there's action in Resident Evil games, but there's puzzles. Yeah, I know that's not really. Shout out to TK9 here in the chat. You know, you guys are something else. He says, "Remember, Mooch liked Avengers." So, right?
Hey, listen, Avengers
you guys
was really
Avengers,
good,
but it was fun. I enjoyed playing it. It just didn't get support from the communities.
Not only it didn't get support from the studio, man. They were supposed to add a bunch of shit to it,
right?
And I don't think they have added anything to it. To be honest with you,
yeah.
So
remember, crap like Sea of Thieves. So his opinion from now on is dead. Right? Yeah, I guess that's how it works. But I mean, yeah, I did like Avengers, and when Avengers gets its patch for the new console sometime this year, I'm gonna go back and take a look at it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily. I am looking forward to the medium, but I wonder why I'm looking forward to it. Crap, is it more of what I'm seeing from the developers and the previews we've seen, or is it because I'm very excited to actually use my Xbox?
Probably because it's a next gen only game. This is the first like next gen game on Xbox, so you know we'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, like I can understand that for sure. I think a lot of the Xbox fan, because this is a walking simulator, no doubt, right? Like this is pretty much what that is. And so I think the Xbox fanboys that are really excited about it are mostly excited about it because it's Xbox exclusive, even though we know it's it'll eventually come to PlayStation this year as well. But you know, that's kind of, you know, maybe the wrong reason to get excited about it. Like I think it's okay if you're really looking forward to it. I just doubt that a lot of people are actually going to be, because I saw the same hype, because the same studio that did that did Blair Witch, and I saw the same thing. Because
apparently, right?
Yeah. So Blair Witch was a Xbox exclusive for 3 months, and you know I remember seeing everybody all, oh man, I can't believe it, Xbox got an exclusive Blair Witch game, and then you look at it, it's like hardly anybody played it, and I think the game scored like in the 60s or 70s Metacritic or something like that. So you know, it's like I always say, I think it'll get a 74 or so. You know, I don't think that it's going to do extremely well. It's like I liked it as a next gen game, but you know, it's also a 30 frames per second game, and I'm kind of used to, you know, playing everything at 60 now or higher. So it's like it's a little bit, it's weird. You know, I don't know if I'll download it or bother with it, but you know, if somebody is really looking forward to it, hey, hats off to you. Enjoy it, have a good time with it.
Absolutely,
that's what I say.
What do you think the meta? What's your meta prediction? I saw you put it on Twitter, but I don't remember the
74.
Okay, 74.
Yeah, I think it'll get a.
Shout out to I believe it was, I'm looking right here, it's Neverland. He says, Mooch Crap, what's your prediction on meta? You went with 74. Man, I'll tell you this much. Okay, so you've got to take the game for what it is. Plague's Tale did quite well, I believe, on meta. Crap. I mean, it wasn't a 99, but it did well. Shout out to Jez, who's in the chat. Great to see Jez here. I will say this much. I think it'll probably, I'm going to say 80 or 82. The reason you might go, well, where are you coming up with that? Yeah, Yodega agrees with me. He says 82 as well. I say 80 or 82 because whether you like the game or not, that's personal preference, and that's not really disputable. The game itself, as long as it's polished and it holds a amount of mystery to it and it does what it's supposed to do, I can't see them giving it a low 70 score or 60 score. If it, you know what I'm saying? Crap. I guess if you set out to do what you said you're going to do.
I'm just going off of what that studio has done in the past. You know what I mean? And nothing that they've really done has resonated with, you know, reviewers. So, you know, that's just my own personal kind of prediction. You know, 74.
No, and that's fine. And Nova, what's yours? Nova, I saw you online yesterday too. I thought you threw something out there, and it was scary low.
It might have not have been me, but for that game, I'm thinking same thing with Crap, somewhere in the 70, 75 range.
Okay, I thought you had 69 or 70 when I saw you. I thought I saw you tweet it out. I apologize if it wasn't you.
Good.
There's so many tweets you read. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's okay. Listen, by the way, do I think any of you guys, and shout out to a lot of the guys that are here in the chat. Capone says 72. Jack says 68. True says 60. He's going with the template.
I would love the 69 template just for shits and giggles, but I honestly think it'll probably be like a 75 or so. You know what I mean? That studio doesn't really impress me much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They always have a lot of issues with their stuff.
Observer got an 86. Did I read that right? Somebody put that right here. Pantherium says, Mooch Crap, the Medium was made by the same company that designed Observer System Redux, Metascore 86. It's a head case game. That's my point. What Pantherium is saying there, pardon me for saying that name wrong. But my point, if the game is made, and the game is made correctly, and it's polished, and it has some sort of intrigue, I don't know if they'll get penalized for anything else. It would just be an 80. Because think about it. What is an 80? It's a good game, right? 80's good, right? Not great. So, Killer Dude 35 says Blair Witch sucked. Well, Blair Witch didn't do well at all. Right? Crap, I believe Blair Witch was somewhere in the 60s Metacritic.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think. If not, it didn't score in the high 70s, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Blair
Witch got a 67.
Okay, 67 for Blair Witch. Thank you, Nova, for looking that up. Well, let me ask you guys this. Well, and the Medium, we'll come back to the Medium because I'm interested in knowing more about. They did they did a 14-minute and then they did like a 10-minute. I've got to be honest with you, Crap. What I saw really wasn't. I thought they could have put a little bit more footage out there. That maybe if that's
listen. Also, I want to point something out real quick to the person pointing out the Observer scores.
Yes.
The Observer got a 77 on PlayStation 4.
Okay.
With 19 reviews. Okay.
Okay.
On Xbox One, it's true. It does have an 86.
Yes.
But there was only 8 reviews.
Okay.
So right.
It's
really hard to sort of sit there and go. So, again, Blair Witch was an 84 or was a 65.
Yeah.
On PS4, it was a 67 on Xbox One. Layers of Fear 2 was a 68 by them, a 63 on the Xbox One for Layers of Fear 2.
Wow. Okay. I might be wrong with this 80. I might be wrong with this 80 then. I don't know. Maybe
Layers of Fear. Layers of Fear 1 was a 78 on Xbox One. So again, I'm just going by their wealth of what they've actually done. Like, we can sit there and go, oh, well, we could cherry pick the one that has only a handful of reviews and go, well, look, it scored an 86. Or we could look at the one that had more than double those reviews and go, well, that same game, only did, was only 77.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think those things have sort of a way to kind of work out. And then you look at Layers of Fear 2. Neither of those games were very good. And then, of course, Blair Witch being a 67 on the Xbox One, 65 on the PS4. So again, I'm just going by that team doesn't seem like they're the most put together team. You know what I mean? So
and that also came to fruition when I saw their 14-minute, and then they had the devs do a speak off about it. They weren't putting it didn't seem like their best foot was going forward with the game. If that's what you're going to show me and try to get me enticed for the next, the essence of buying Game Pass or buying the game itself outright, it didn't do a great job. I do want to say shout out to Epic Monk. He says gaming's being held back because of scalpers. They're forcing cross-gen games. Most of us can't upgrade to next gen, forcing developers to make cross-gen games.
It's funny because my older brother keeps asking me, when there's going to be more PS5s? When's there going to be more PS5s? And I'm like, man, I give him I give him the information when it does actually drop. Like, I'm like, well, because I sometimes it comes across like, oh, here's this, and he had one in his cart at Target, I think, and then when he went to pay, it dropped it. Yep, it was gone. So yeah,
that's happening to a lot of my friends as well, trying to get their hands on a PS5. No time to game 62 says Mooch Crap. Where's the marketing for this game? No time.
No marketing.
There is no marketing.
And there's not going to be any marketing because
no time to game. You just heard me and Crap actually just marketed the game. That was the marketing.
Yeah, and listen, this is this is what you guys have to realize. This isn't an Xbox made game. This is a Bloober team made game, and this has a very minimal budget. It's a low budget AA game that's going directly into Game Pass. So I don't think there's going to be very much marketing. I think the hope for Bloober team is that some of those 10, 15 million people boot up their game. I think that's what the hope is.
Right.
I mean, that's just what I'm saying. Now, if it scores well, that could be marketing in and of itself, right? Like that, we've seen that happen, Mooch. where a game will score very well, and then it'll get played. But this is the thing. I think that the game's going to be played by quite a bit of people, and one of the reasons why I think it's going to be played by a lot of people is because this is the first damn time. Like I said, it's almost February. The console was out in November, so you have this is basically the first time in 3 months that a game is going to be next gen only that could potentially showcase some of the graphical stuff, that's
right.
Again, so the first time in 3 months since that console came out, you have something. So I think people are going to be really kind of willing to go out there and try it and see, kind of see what happens.
It's funny, shout out to RKDO LPC. Says Crap and Mooch do nothing but talk about Xbox every show, same song, everything.
They missed the first 40 minutes, I think, because
did you miss how we talked about PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 in the beginning? We talked about Returnal. I was gonna bring up 9Live's question, which was a great question, by the way. He says, "Do you think Returnal or the Medium gets a higher meta score?" I like that. I think that's a great talking point. RDK, I gotta be RKDO. I gotta be honest with you, man. When you have a listener that comes in and you're just listening to what you want to hear, that's all you're getting out of it. But that's not what we do here. That's just not what we do here. And of course, this week's big topics were what was going around and what happened with Xbox in the past, and it happened in a 24. For a company as big as Microsoft and Xbox, for them to put a statement out at 8 a.m. and then before midnight even hits the same day, they completely reversed policy. That's a major effect that the community had on that decision. And I'm not taking nobody. It was the entire community that came together to do this. So, I just challenge you to listen to what we're saying and don't be so tunnel driven to hear what you think you're hearing. It's not the case. And now we're talking about Returnal. We've talked about the $70 game price on that we don't agree with. I don't know what else we can honestly do to get you to understand that. But I mean, Crap, what's your take on that? I thought 9Lives asked an outstanding question. I mean, what's Returnal's meta versus not only the Medium, but what do you think Returnal will get?
I think Returnal will probably get 78, 80, somewhere along those lines. Give me a 2 little bumper there. I think that this is their first attempt. It's listed as a AAA. I mean, it's priced like a AAA, so I guess we'll see. I don't know, but I think 78, 80, somewhere in between that.
Nova, what do you think? That's interesting, Crap. I thought you would. I'm also going to flirt with that 82 to 84 because if the game is fun and hashtag fun, right, guys? Hashtag fun. If the game is fun and they do what they're supposed to do in the game, again, I wouldn't say from what I've seen so far, nothing is making me go, it's great, but I also don't think it's a 70 either. And I did the same thing. So I guess if I had to be hard nosed, I was going to give Returnal an 82, 83, and I was going to give Medium anywhere from an 80 to 81, just to be fair. I think that's where that could dip into a 79 for sure. Medium.
Yeah.
Could also dip into a 79 for Returnal.
I'm thinking 80.
But I think Returnal will hold a low 80. Nova, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking 80 average, about there. 80, 79, 81, 82, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. Again, a good game. Crap nailed it earlier in the show when he said this game's coming out at the right time. Because you think about Returnal. Returnal's coming out with nothing really around it, right? I mean, it doesn't have a whole lot of competition. So I think that it's going to do decent in sales, too, just because of the timing. Ronan Go says, WDYT of Hood, Outlaws and Legends medieval multiplayer game. I don't know if Nova or Crap know about that multiplayer game. I'm unaware of that game.
What is it?
Out. I don't know.
No.
Outlaws and Legends medieval multiplayer game. I've not heard of that. And if I have,
not either.
I've read too quickly through it, Ronan, so I can't really comment on it. But
I've never heard of it. So.
So Crap, one of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about on MNC because we haven't had MNC since the new year struck was we were talking before we left about how the compromises and the situations and what PlayStation 5 may have to do to get better results out of the output of games, and everything leading up to this past week has been favorable on Digital Foundry towards PlayStation for the most part.
Yeah.
But here we see Hitman 3 came out, and Hitman 3, again, depending on the type of gamer you are, Hitman 3 Digital Foundry found that is hitting a solid 4K native on the Xbox Series X, but it's having issues in certain areas, dipping as low as 40 and 50. frames to hold that 4K, where the PlayStation is at tools. Well, the tools are there, yes. But I'm saying
the tools, yeah.
1800p at a steady 60, even in those same troubled areas on the PlayStation. Are we starting to see maybe where Xbox... I think Xbox is still going to have to stop with this 4K stuff. I think if they want to hit 60 frames, they're going to have to tune it down,
I mean,
right?
listen. I guess like from what I've read and what I've seen, like I would have, if I was like a big pro Xbox influencer, I would have held off on celebrating the tools finally being there and all this kind of stuff and the lazy dev talk and all this kind of stuff, because from what I understand is the engine that they're using really relies more on compute units, which is an advantage for Xbox, whereas a lot of the other engines and stuff that we've seen aren't relying on compute units, but other aspects. So, when it comes to stuff like the Ubisoft games, that's why those had better performance on PlayStation. So I think that you're probably going to see some stuff come in favor of PS5, some stuff come in favor of Xbox, but I don't think you're going to see that definitive, oh man, this is definitely superior on this or whatever. I don't think you're going to see that. And people had to keep in mind that game had to be in VR, work in VR on PlayStation. So, a lot of people,
that's a good point.
I think we're kind of cashing there. And again, I'll point this out because we were both huge Xbox fans to start off last gen. Yeah. And, I understand that want for payback, right? Oh man, they really got us good for that 720p box and that 900p box. They want that same thing to happen to PlayStation. Yeah. The problem is there's a stark contrast from doing 1800p and interlacing and that kind of stuff and being able to do 60 frames than doing 720p to 1080p. It's night and day difference. So they're fighting. I always use this term, and some people don't know what it means. They're fighting last year's war. It doesn't necessarily have to mean last year, but that was a totally different thing, and it's never going to be the same, right? Yeah. The picture quality is too good. So people really should kind of get over that stuff. Just play it on whatever platform you like. And here's the thing: Xbox dudes that are celebrating that you got a 4K thing and it plays best there. They weren't going to play it anywhere else but Xbox anyway. Okay, right. They didn't buy Call of Duty or Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed on PlayStation because it played better there, or Dirt 5 or any of that stuff. They bought it on Xbox because they're Xbox fanboys, and that's what they do. PlayStation fanboys are the same way. They're not going to buy a game. They're not going to buy that on the Xbox because it's got a couple hundred more P. That's not going to happen. They're going to play it where they want to play it, and it's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? So I always thought it was kind of funny but ridiculous. I mean, I love console wars because it's hilarious, right? Console wars are no more funny than when when a company makes a stupid decision like what Microsoft did during the weekend. All the memes and all that stuff start flying. That's when it's at its best. For me, right? I'm out there, J-Dubs is out there. Yeah, everybody making fun of Xbox. And it could be PlayStation doing something stupid and we make fun of them. It's like that there's no better time than when that something like that happens. You know what I'm saying? So for me personally, the Xbox fans, they weren't going to get those games if they played better. Even if as an Xbox owner, even if that game did play better on PlayStation, are they going to get it on PlayStation? Hell no. So it's really kind of a moot point. I thought it was kind of ridiculous.
That's a good
to begin
point,
with.
Crap. Yeah, whether or not it had. Now, if it was a major issue that was game breaking, then you would see something like that happen where one would go by. But really, and I see a lot of people in the chat going, Mooch, it was just one area and it dipped down to 50, 40 once. I get
41.
But you have to understand, if you're sitting there in the Xbox camp and you're telling me it was just one area of the game that had a frame rate issue, I also have to listen to the other side of the coin that's saying, listen, 4K, 1800p, most people at that point, they don't care. Let me give you an example of what I mean here. And it's not, apples for apples, but it's just a comparison. If somebody that your neighbor hits the lottery for $350 million, and then you hit the lottery 2 months later for $310 million, and your neighbor comes out to you or gives you a call and says, I absolutely destroyed you. I made more than you. So first of all, your neighbor's correct. He did, or she did. But in all honesty, it's you're splitting hairs, right? Are you upset you won $310 million? My point here is that at this point, the human eye, which, by the way, bring the same energy, crap. Well, guess what? Mooch and Crap have brought the same energy. Because if you go back to 2013, 2014, Crap and I and many others in the Xbox camp said the same thing.
Yep.
I don't care if it's 1080p or 900p.
Didn't care.
Didn't care then. Don't care now. The problem is everyone says bring the same energy. That's why I don't like that slogan. Everybody says it, but the people saying it are not keeping the same energy.
Yep.
If you care now that 4K is better than 1800p, but you were saying it's the same thing back in the day, that 1080p was the same as 900p, it doesn't matter. You're splitting hairs. If you won $350 million and I won $310 million and you're laughing at my winnings, what the hell are you laughing at? I'm very happy with $310 million. I'm good. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Nova, go ahead.
Quick question, Mooch. And funny enough, Z brought this up on my show because we were going over the Hitman stuff. If Digital Foundry wasn't a thing, or if there wasn't like someone who was really, like public out facing that was, loud, who was talking about these differences in games and the graphics, if they were just subtle, would a lot of people care?
Listen, okay,
they wouldn't know.
They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even know. Crap's right.
Yeah, they wouldn't. And I can tell you why they wouldn't know, because this goes back to even my Xbox days. Shadow of War came out, that, the Lord of the Rings game, and it came out, I think, on a Friday or something. And there was Digital Foundry didn't do a reveal on what the resolution was that entire weekend. Right? Everybody was just they're like, oh, for sure, that's 720p on Xbox, 720p. It ended up being like 900p. So nobody knew. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knew. It was like, how long? Like when you looked at gameplay for like Quantum Break, nobody knew the resolution. Like, everybody just guessed. It was kind of like down on it or whatever. It's like even Rise, Son of Rome, great looking games still to this day. Great looking game.
Oh, it is.
Like, it didn't matter that it was 900p. Get out of here. That game looked better than pretty much any 1080p game for years.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter, and it still doesn't matter. And it's just funny to me that, for me personally, I get called flip-flop all the time, when the fact of the matter is, I loved Xbox. I didn't care about the resolution, but I loved Xbox and was happy with Xbox because we had games. Xbox had an identity. Phil Spencer was like, I'm in it to win it. It's the best place to play. We want our gamers to be first class. And then he slowly got away from all that shit. Yep. Then Sony started coming out with great games, really seemed to care about the fans, making everybody feel like first class. So I start enjoying that. I get called a flip-flop. Who's the one that flip-flops? It's like Microsoft did that, not me. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing what I always did. I called out Sony for years for lack of games, right? And I'm doing the same thing for Xbox. 506 days.
Yep, absolutely. Shout out to Cool Hand Cruz. He says, I think it's really marginal at best, but I also believe when it comes to casuals, they'll lean more towards resolution over frame rate for RPGs. Cool Hand Cruz, I'm going to be honest with you. When you're talking about the casual market, and again, I say this, shout out to Xbot448. I always go back and forth with him. We make some great back and forth arguments on Friday's Crossfires. But like, when it comes down to it, my friends, and don't use my small census as the say-all, end-all. I'm not saying that's it. But when I talk to them, they never, ever, and I mean never. I mean, I don't even know. You can underline it and put it in quotes. They never ask me if a game is in 4K. They just go, wow, this game, like, gentleman that I know, PS5 crap, he's playing NBA 2K 21. Wow, he goes, it looks amazing and way better than it did on my PS4. That's all he cares about. He didn't ask me if it was 4K. He didn't ask me if it was 1800p. I'll be honest with you, I'll take it a step further. He also didn't ask me what the frame rate was, because he doesn't care. The thing is, shout out to Jez7780 in the chat. He says, we podcasters, the gaming community, we use Digital Foundry's information because it's relative to daily conversation and topics. But Digital Foundry's findings are not normal findings. Like, nobody takes home a copy of Hitman 3 on PlayStation 5 and then bought another copy of Hitman 3 for their Xbox Series X without looking at anything, played it once on the same TV, played on Xbox, played on PlayStation, and they were like, wow, clearly the 4K native, I got to play it on this one. No, I mean, and nobody played that area in the garden area there that dipped down to 40 frames on the Xbox and was like, well, clearly I got to play this on PlayStation. This is a mess. Right? I mean, so shout out to Jez7780 in the chat. He's right. For the most part, not for us, not for you guys listening to the show, but for the casual market, they don't care if it's 1800p or 4K, and they don't care if one area or two areas of a game dips down to 52 frames. I mean, let's just be honest here. But when we're having a great debate and we're talking about it, you do have to understand the PlayStation 5 has a digital edition for $399. And so far, seemingly, on most multi-plat games, the PlayStation has outperformed the Xbox Series X, which on paper is greater and more powerful. So, for the gaming community podcast, which we all do, that information is relevant and necessary to have quantified discussions on these particular topics. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But when you're going to go ahead and say that my friend who's a casual and he just plays NBA or he just plays Madden or he just plays Call of Duty, they don't care. Crap, that's so I mean, everyone's kind of got something right in the chat there.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't look at it one way or the other. I think it just comes down to people's own perspectives of it or whatever. But like I said, if you're an Xbox owner and you're an Xbox fan, you're not going to play something on PlayStation just because it performs better or whatever. And let's also point out that as somebody who owns both, we both own both, the DualSense is a game changer. So you know what I'm saying? To me, regardless of what maybe the Xbox is doing, I still think, and I heard Hitman has incredible DualSense features. So again, it really just kind of goes back to what you want to play and what you want to do. Just kind of do what you want to do. But I did want to talk a little bit about Destruction All-Stars and even maybe the games with gold stuff that are coming out, because I thought that there was some really good stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to Destruction All-Stars. That was a game that, and this is the thing, I'll get crap for it or whatever. I had it pre-ordered originally, right? It's a new IP. It was something different than the same old. This is what always kind of annoys me is people go, all Sony does is the same thing, over the shoulder, action adventure, open world, blah, blah, blah. Then they come out with something new like this and everybody just makes fun of it or whatever, right? So I think Sony did do the smart thing with a game like this. I get it's really going to have to strive with the community, so make it free. So I think that it's going to be a big hit for them. And I think that, I'm really looking forward to playing it. I think it looks like a lot of fun. And, it's just an exciting thing to sort of to see. And I'm stoked by it. I'm super excited.
Well, this game has a lot going for it, crap. And I mean, first of all, let me tell you something, right? For all you guys that love this, and Mooch loves it too, it's free. Well, or as free as PS Plus costs you guys. Like Crap said, I'm good now on PS Plus. I've stacked. I'm good till I think October of 2023 or 2024 now. I think 2024. And because I bought them at they were $29 or $32 for the year. So shout out to the great people online that put those sales out there. But let's get back to the game. So this game has an ability, Crap, to possibly be a Twisted Metal meets soccer cars, right? Meets Battle Royale. It's interesting. It could flop. It could be terrible. It could be terrible. And let me tell you, if I don't like it, you guys on this show will hear about it. But it's costing me nothing more than I've already paid. And let's be honest, it's coming out when there's nothing else to play. We're going to get a chance to play this game, Crap, in I believe the first week of February 1st. So Destruction All-Stars comes out February 1st, and people are like, well, Mooch, we just did a whole segment on the Medium. Yes, the Medium is coming out January 28th. And I don't know how long the Medium is slated to be, but I believe if you play through, I mean, it's a playthrough kind of game. Yep. So I don't expect it to be 50 hours.
It's 5 to 10 hours.
Well, is that what it is, Nova? Do you know that?
Yeah, it's 5 to 10 hours.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
If you do
so
everything.
If I'll go by Nova's numbers, if it's, let's say, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, Nova. You're saying 5 to 10. I'm going to go ahead and give it 12. I'll give it 12 to 14 if you're really like me and I've got a problem when I play games. If you guys watch me on Twitch, I can't stop finding collectibles. If there's collectibles, I need to find them. I got a problem. I don't know. It's a me problem. But Crap, I'll play that game probably for 12 hours. If it's slated for 10, I'll play it for 12 to 14. I'll just play it to try and get as much as I can. But my point being here is that's not going to last very long for most gamers. They're going to be done with the Medium in, 2-3 days. And you probably go, Mooch, how can you say that? Well, we're in the pandemic era where we're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. So you definitely have more time set aside for gaming. I know I do. And I was at a point before the pandemic hit where I was, and crap, we talked about this on MNC. We talked about it on Crossfire. Before the pandemic hit, I had not much time to game. I mean, I had Friday nights after Crossfire, me and you'd get on once in a blue moon, play a game. And then I had Saturday afternoons, maybe Sunday night. That's it. Now I've got all the time in the world. I mean, there's plenty of time. So I'll tell you, I really think you're going to be able to go ahead and really beat the medium in a short period of time. And then you're going to have a game like Destruction All-Stars, which is a multiplayer game, which, you know, if it hits the right mark, it could carry you right into March, which will then get you to Returnal if you're going to buy it then. I don't know, crap. What's your take? That's my take on Destruction All-Stars. It looks like a Twisted Metal meets Battle Royale meets a soccer cars. You know, because the driver gets to come out of the car. So I'm not sure. Crap, you having some audio issues?
Yeah, I was. Can you hear me?
Now we can, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, to me, Destruction All-Star sounds a lot like, or reminds me of sort of like a Twisted Metal meets, you know, something like a
soccer cars, or
like a soccer cars type situation, and you can get out. So yeah, like I like it. I think that it's a game that I was very excited for to begin with. So it's cool that it's free and that we're going to be able to kind of play it, and it should have a pretty big community. You know, I mean, like obviously, you know, anybody that has a PS Plus account can access the game. So I think that it's really going to be like, hopefully it's their next big thing, like it's a big multiplayer thing. So I'm hoping that that's something that, you know, everybody can get into and, you know, and play, you know, me and you should probably play it, maybe Twitch it or something, you know,
I'm down.
And, you know,
Totally
and so
down.
I'm looking forward to that. And then it's like they have that and then Returnal, you know, and then I'm hoping, you know, some Horizon at some point. And,
well,
you know, obviously they're going to have Deathloop and, you know, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I'm excited. Ratchet and Clank, like that's still coming out. It's like, it's like literally they have a pretty good. I don't think that God of War is going to hit this year. No. I think that's going to be next year. But yeah, it's still really cool to see something like that, a new kind of game kind of launch into PlayStation Plus. It really, like, it doesn't make much sense to do a Last of Us 2 launch like that, but I think a game like this that really needs that community, I think it makes a ton of sense for it to launch and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that it's great. I think that it's I'm hoping that they do that it's a lot of fun. I'm not sure what it'll get. It'll probably score something in the 70s or whatever. You know, sometimes you just gotta see that or whatever. But
I can see that. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to give props also to Microsoft, who has had really crummy games with gold, like since Game Pass came out.
Yeah, these look pretty good.
Yeah, so if you didn't know what games with gold is going to do, it's going to be Gears 5, Resident Evil, which is the remastered version, Dandara Trials of Fear Edition. I never heard of that, but you know it's there. Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb.
I might actually check that out, crap.
Yeah. Hey, why not? Right? Let's check it out. Let's play some old games. That's an original Xbox game. Also, Lost Planet 2, which is a really good Xbox 360 game, is also on there. So yeah, I actually think that this is a pretty stellar lineup of games. You know, they did a really good job with it. So I gotta say, it's pretty cool. I like what they're doing with, you know, you could do like multiple generations. You're getting, you know, 5 games here. I think anything they can do to save Gears of War is great. I mean, I've heard they're trying to go back and retcon a lot of the messed up stuff with the multiplayer and stuff like that. Yeah. It's kind of sad to see what has kind of happened to Gears, but you know, I guess the Hivebuster stuff gives me some hope. They'll be able to do some, they'll be able to do some stuff and kind of do something with that franchise, because, you know, it was such a, I can remember when we were doing BGST and Next Gen used to say, isn't Gears like the big flagship now? It's bigger than Halo, right? And now, you know, we kind of look at it and it's like, you know, nobody even wanted to play it, you know, like it's just kind of sad when you think about it, you know. I just like.
Well, shout out to T-Rock 40 says, Mooch, they were going to double the price of you know, games with gold. Better be good games. Shout out to T-Rock. That's very true.
Yeah. They're probably like, damn.
Yeah, right. Now they're like, shit. We can't pull those back. Right. That wouldn't sit well. I want to say shout out to. I'm looking real quick here. I know. Yeah, there it is. Jack ENMD. He says the Adaptive feedback and the haptics and the 3D sound are also nice extras for the immersion, also with Resident Evil Village. You like that? Village. I gave it, Village.
Village,
Village. Yeah, I tried to. But my point being is, like, that's a really, like, Resident Evil 8. That's why I'm really excited about games with gold, that they give that Resident Evil game away. Now, I have all those. PlayStation Plus did that a while ago. Like, a while ago. I've got all the Resident Evils on PlayStation. But now I want to kind of build my Resident Evil collection up on Xbox. So I'm very, very happy to see them give that crap. We should talk about it for a second. I am, and shout out to the great Mooch Maniac wrote me on PlayStation and said, Mooch, here, he gave me enough to get the Resident Evil 8. I got to be honest with you. I can't wait to play this game crap. You know I'm a Resident Evil lunatic. Not like everybody, but I love Resident Evil. I don't want to say I'm not like the mega fan, because there's definitely fans that trump me. But
Yeah.
I mean, I love the game. What did you think? I thought Village looked amazing.
I thought it looked amazing too. To be honest with you, I just played the demo yesterday. Yeah. Again, I might be playing, we play on OLED. I play on the CX OLED, it's got VRR and all that kind of stuff. So what I saw was just phenomenal looking game, and some of the best textures I've ever seen in a game. Like, it looked crazy good. It was the atmosphere, and it just was kind of blew my mind. It's so creepy. Okay, like super creepy, and I felt like they really kind of nailed it with what they were trying to do. I understand some people were disappointed, and I guess I get that, but it's like this was more of a thing to kind of draw you in, and I thought they did such a good job with the atmosphere, with just the kind of fun level that they had. But everything, every noise, you're like, what the hell was that? You know what I mean? It's like gross. There's gross stuff. It's like it's Resident Evil. It's
right.
They did an amazing job with it. I thought it was fantastic, man. You guys playing on mood VR? To it. What's that?
Sorry, are you guys going to be playing on VR?
It doesn't. So no. It's not reported. It's not reported to have VR support.
Oh, no way.
Well, maybe on the PS4 it would. Yeah. I'm not sure if.
Here's my thought. Here's my thought. I was speaking to a few people on Twitter about this, because a lot of people were kind of bummed out that they didn't mention VR support. Here's my thought, guys. You guys can go ahead and take this and put it in a jar and seal it up and bury it in the yard, and then pull it out later. My thought on this crap is PSVR 2 is in the works. We know that, right? Sony hasn't hidden that at all. They're very, very vocal about it. I think that Resident Evil 8 will be one of the launch games for PSVR 2. So that's why I think they're not making it for the original PSVR. They gave us that.
Could be it, yeah.
Right? Think about it. They have to have some big whoppers that come out. And Resident Evil 7 sold PSVR for a lot of people. A lot of people. So now you have everybody that loves Resident Evil. Huge fan base. Going to play Resident Evil 8 and then want to play this thing in VR. And shout out to, I think it's Nike. He says, does it even deal with the virus anymore? And yes, they haven't got into it yet for RE8. We don't know for Village, but the end of RE7 kind of touches on the virus and all of that. So I got to tell you, man, RE7 for me is one of, and you guys know I love zombie, right? I'm not only am I counting the days down for all the games and the games in February that we're getting and the games in March. I can't wait. I'm the only one here, crap. I'm on my island by myself. I can't wait for even Walking Dead to come back at the end of February. So I love my zombie games, but what is it there? Resident Evil, of course, coming out in May, and I'm really looking forward to when Dying Light 2. We saw them come out of the woodwork, and they said, hey, we're still working on it. It's coming out this year. So Dying Light 2 is coming out this year, crap. And you just can't get anyone more excited than I am for that game. I mean,
you're a huge Dying Light fan. Yeah, I know you love zombie stuff. You were big on Days Gone. You were like Days Gone. I love it too. I think that's a really good game.
Back for Blood, too, crap, which is going to be the new Left 4 Dead.
And in fact, it's so funny because my older brother, who is like the biggest casual of all, was asking me about that game. And I was like, yeah, it looks good, man. He's like, yeah, he's like, I'll get it on my PS5 when I finally get that. He's like, man, I wish Sony would do something about all the bots getting all the PS5s and that kind of stuff. So, it's, again, like that game looks great. I love Left 4 Dead. So Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, I spent a lot of time on those games on the Xbox 360 back in the day. So definitely, want to check that out. Check the Discord, Mooch. I just left a message.
Oh, I apologize. Yes.
I got it.
Yep,
yeah. So
that works.
Yeah, just saying.
Yeah, it's funny. I was reading all of our topics that we have. We have so many topics. I was scrolled up, so I apologize. I didn't see that message. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Okay.
I think that this has just been an outstanding comeback for MNC here. It was a lot of fun. We wanted to get 2021 out there. I do want to just say Resident Evil 8. They haven't really given a lot of details to, but I believe this is the same course of action they did with Resident Evil 7. And remember, guys, Resident Evil 7 was never supposed to be good because they went from third person to first person. But I really, really enjoyed Resident Evil 7. It was my game of the year when it came out. I'm not saying that's going to happen this year. There's so many amazing titles that are yet to be released. But I am truly looking forward to Resident Evil 8. I think it's going to be something special. And I do think, I see a lot of you guys in the chat here. I see Ronan and I see a bunch of people all asking, do you think Resident Evil is going to incorporate this? And are they going to incorporate that? I think they always will tie in. They'll always tie in some of the traditional story building that we got from the original games in the series. But how they're going to do it, they haven't gotten to yet. And I really do believe, Jez actually said himself, he said, that's a good point, Mooch. I really think that the VR support for that game will come when PSVR 2 comes out. They're going to have a real big-time banger.
Quick.
And Neil, thank you. I appreciate that. Shout out to Neil Augusto in the chat. Outstanding gamer. Talked to him a lot on PlayStation. Just an awesome Mooch Maniac.
So
go ahead, Nova.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Finky Bean in the chat says, Nova, when do you drop the next code? You know what? I didn't even realize I did say that. You know what? I got something. I just dropped my YouTube in the chat. I'm 15 subs away from 300. If you guys can get me 300, I will drop the code in this chat right now. So.
Guys, go over to Nova's channel while we kind of wrap this show up, and he's going to drop another code for you guys. Just an outstanding Insomniacs podcast Thursday nights. You guys should check that out.
Thank you,
He's had amazing guests on, and it's and I mean, of course, I'm biased. He had the great Mooch and Crap on, but besides us, he had David Jaffe. He's had Hip Hop Gamer. He's had Next Gen 720. He's had amazing people on the show.
It's been really fun. So yeah, definitely check me out, guys. Just drop my link in the chat, and yeah, give me the 300. Dropping a code, another PSN code. So get ready.
But guys, we are going to be doing this show every Sunday, or as many Sundays as possible. Sometimes things come up. Sundays are always difficult. Sometimes it's difficult for the audience. Sometimes it's difficult for Mooch, Crap, or Nova. But next week's show will be on Crap's channel, and please do. Neverland. Ryan says sub. Please do, guys, while I have you all here. I know a lot of you guys come over for the show. Please do hit the like button. Please do hit the subscribe button right now on the channel. It means the world to me if you guys would hit the subscribe button. I have a video in the works. I was telling Crap and Nova this behind the scenes. I have a lot of coverage coming on the Medium and a little bit about the channel that I'm going to be talking to you guys about. I should have that video out by Monday. And, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to start doing videos. I'm not sure they're all going to be like 10, 12 minutes. Some of them may only be like 5 minutes. Some of them are going to be 7 minutes. Maybe some will hit 8 to 10 minutes. It depends on the content for the week. But I will have a video out at least once a week starting this week. I've got all the equipment. Everything's in place. MNC is back. We had an outstanding Crossfire this past Friday. Please go over and check that after this too. But yeah, I don't know. How are we looking, Nova? Because did you get the 300?
I'm 10 subs away right now.
Oh, guys, go over and then come back.
Yeah, go sub.
Go sub that. Crap, anything you want to kind of plug?
Just Crap Gamer reviews. You guys check it out. Good times.
Crap's doing 2 videos a day, guys, over there. So do please go over and check that out. And I think we kind of hit a lot of the subjects. I want to thank everybody that's here. Nova, up to you on whether or not you want to drop that code or not. That's completely up to you. If not, we can always do it next week.
Yeah, we'll see. If you guys sub, even after the show ends, I'll if you stick around, I'll drop in the chat. If not, we'll do it next week. All good.
Appreciate that. Shout out to Yodega in the chat. He says, I am Mooch. He says, we need a Mets temperature gauge. I'm hyped for this upcoming season. Ooh. So am I. I think we've got a new owner. We've got new promise. We went and got arguably the second, the best second baseman or shortstop in baseball in Lindor. So we've got people. We've got a decent pitching staff. Me and Crap always talk a little bit of sports. Today's got some great games out there today to go watch. If you're a New York fan, I'm a Giants fan, but the Bills are playing. They're still representing New York, and nobody hates the Bills. It's hard to hate the Bills. Who hates Buffalo? Not many people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Nobody even knows Buffalo's out there, Crap. So it's hard to hate when you don't even know they're there.
What'd you guys think about last night, the McGregor fight?
I don't watch a lot of that stuff, so I don't know.
I don't watch either. I know he got knocked out in the second round.
5 subs left, guys. So, yeah, it was crazy because apparently Logan Paul, there was an offer on the table where he would have got $50 million, the YouTuber, to fight Colin McGregor, and Colin didn't take it, and now he got knocked out like so quick by this new guy that now he's not worth that much, so it kind of put like a stain on his legacy.
Well, he's 1-1 against the guy now. Like he beat him back in 2014. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see what happens. They could definitely they could do it. They could do it again. Yeah, they could do a rubber match. I don't know. It's like I think Conor does I don't think he takes things as serious as he probably should. It's like I don't know. It's like he thinks he's like too big a star or whatever. But yeah, it was interesting. I seen all the memes and stuff. It's never good when you wake up and you see memes of a guy knocked out.
It's not a good way to wake up in the morning.
Yeah. So
no.
Good stuff.
Now I don't know if Nova, did you drop it? 3 more subs, guys. 3.
Let me get 3 more subs. I'm literally gonna just copy and paste the code right now. I'm hoping you guys can show me a little bit of love. But no, it's been a great show. I do want to say, guys, I am in the process of upgrading my computer, so maybe within the next month or so, we'll say. I don't want to put a definite date on it because I don't know when my motherboard and CPU are coming in. But yeah, the show will definitely have a new, fresh coat of paint on it once I get everything up and running. So I'm really excited for that. We're definitely going to throw some more stuff. And you know what? I see, a lot of guys in the comment, you guys want to interact and put your arguments out there. We have a phone number that you guys can leave voicemail. So if you guys want to, throw your point out there, then leave a voicemail. We'll talk about
leave a respectful voicemail.
Yeah, exactly. Try to keep it to 60 seconds or less, because if it's over 60 seconds, then Nova has to go in and edit it, because think of it yourself. If you're leaving the request or you're listening to somebody else, others don't want to hear a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute rant. So try and keep the rant to under 60 seconds so that we don't have to edit too much and we can get your point across, and then we'll answer to it. Shout out to the great Blaze 4K. Blaze, thank you very much. Which, by the way, we have to get Blaze. I've got everything set up. We've got to get Blaze on Crossfire. He's been absolutely electric on Twitter recently with his rants, and I'd love to get him on Crossfire so you guys can hear his point of view. So, Blaze, thank you so much for that. Nova, why don't you go ahead and drop that, and
I'll go ahead and drop that.
We'll go from there.
All right. Give me just a moment here, and we will go ahead.
Shout out also to, let me just say, JudaZuk and all the other great Mooch Maniac family members that are here in the chat. Guys, the join button right above the description there, and if you guys want to do join and help the channel, it is much appreciated. But we do really appreciate you guys coming out for our first MNC of 2021, and there will be one every week. And if there isn't, we'll let you guys know in advance. Cool Hand Crew says, y'all want this code. Let's get Nova to goal Insomniacs podcast year. So shout out to Cool Hand Crews and the Insomniacs podcast crew. Appreciate it. Did you drop it there? Did we get one? Nova?
I'm getting it right now to drop it.
All right, here comes the code, guys. And then Nova will take us immediately out with the MNC. By the way, everyone always says you guys have a new theme song. If anybody can write lyrics and wants to do something, get a hold of me on Twitter at Mooch1978, and we'll discuss if we can put together some kind of a beat.
Crap. In the morning.
And crap. Absolutely.
All right. I'm gonna head us out. Guys, keep looking at the chat. The code is dropping any second now.
All right, guys, we'll catch you next week on Craps Channel. Peace out and enjoy your Sunday.
Have a great Sunday. Peace out.